Hatred gets real sneaky around the cocoon looking for Doc, which is pointless because he's down in their home instead being tortured.
Right. He gets busted in his undercover henchman getup.
Yeah.
By another henchman. Surprisingly, a rare one who's actually distinguishable.
Mm-hmm.
He's not just another 24 clone.
And it's funny because we see other henchmen in the episode, and
Mm-hmm.
they're all 24 clones, too. So it's like a rare moment where it's like, oh my gosh, this guy. We can have to list of like the 5 henchmen that are distinguishable.
Yeah, and he notices Hatred's tattoo, but not his double D's. I mean...
I wouldn't have been my first.
No. This henchman has boobs. That's weird.
Are they letting in henchwenches now?
The Women's League.
Yeah. We get our first hint that the Muppets have not only not mended their ways, but they're essentially running things now in the cocoon.
Gary saves the day.
Yes.
Hatred finally has his "we're buddies on the same side" moment.
Yeah.
Which, of course, means it's doomed.
Totally doomed.
Yeah.
Back to the Monarchs. They have changed into some really splendiferous costumes. I
can't wait to see them cosplayed.
It's going to be like a year. I don't think anyone could make that in like...
No, not in the time. But I have to say that the amount of new cosplay fodder in this season has been really fun.
I was going to say that it seems like everyone has multiple costume changes.
Yes, they're putting people in different outfits now, and I really love it because there's so many chances to do different iterations on the same characters.
Even Dean in his little Moroccan hat and like... poncho. The overtopness of these costumes kind of reminds me of the Monarch's Death Head panoply suit, which, like, for some reason, when he's, like, hanging out with Rusty, he has to get really, really fancy.
It's an occasion.
It's an occasion to get dressed up for.
And he dresses for it.
Meanwhile, I think Rusty's wearing some sort of diaper.
Yeah. He had a dislocated hip, so they wrapped it, I guess. The Monarchs' clothes are golden red, the guild colors, we just found out. Mm-hmm. There's also a giant guild carpet on the floor.
Yes.
So they're gilding it up in there.
They're very guildy.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I just thought they looked like Mr. and Mrs. Queen Amidala, although her outfits, I think, were heavily inspired by Mongolian traditional robes. So I think that's kind of part of the inspiration for this look.
I'm so excited about this.
I know. Go ahead. Go for it.
Dr. Mrs. asks the monarch if he wants her to bow, and he tells her it's to King and I died a little bit of glee because it is my favorite movie. Getting to know you.
Okay. Ooh, okay. The Monarch's warm up. Like his vocal warm up was also really cute. It was very like My Fair Lady-esque. His like elocution exercises. And then he tells Dr. Mrs. to cross her arms and look at me like I am the shit.
Which she does. It's really cute.
I enjoyed that.
The monarch starts the torture session.
Mm-hmm.
He starts with the bell, which is on the list as the bell.
Which is Asian theme. So I guess that's what he went with.
Yeah. It's supposed to rupture Dr. Venture's organs or something.
Yeah, something to that effect.
But all it really does is impede his hearing.
And at first, and I think he's also blindfolded, so it's really, he's just, like, numbing all of his senses.
Rusty thinks he's saying Patti LaBelle, who's the award-winning Grammy singer, who's famous for the original version of Lady Marmalade in the 60s.
We see the monarch's neighbor, Flying Squid.
So that's how they know each other.
That's how they know each other. Being irritated by the ruckus. His pet/son... a little tiny squid is in the kiddie pool at his feet. And it makes this like snide comment about how the monarch is cranking the Mike Oldfield album.
Oldfield is an English instrumentalist musician. He blends progressive rock with new age sounds.
Just in case you wanted to know.
His heyday was in the 70s. But his best known album was called Tubular Bells, which featured, you guessed it, bells of different sizes being rung.
It's melodic. He calls them hippies and like makes a joke about them playing Pink Floyd later, which is another crack about rock music in this episode, and maybe another reason why it's the, Devil's Pit or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Devil's Pit?
Whatever.
Like his armpit?
The Devil's Grip. There we go.
Oh, right. The monarch then tries to go all B-movie on Dr. Venture with a dentist drill, but Rusty's breath is so gross.
I had to ask if you gagged in this part of the episode.
Yes.
Anything, the slightest thing will make her.
Oh, so the grave peeing, that was gag worthy.
I actually witnessed that. She.
Nope.
It's comic.
Let's not talk about it.
Finally, he tries to saw Rusty in half, but the cord doesn't reach the table, and he can't find the GD extension cord. So he gives up and he releases Rusty, and he tells him just to see himself out and pretend that he escaped.
He also tells him that nobody came to rescue him.
Yeah.
Which isn't true.
That's not true.
But now Dr. Venture thinks that, which is kind of sad.
So he has this like really sad sack walk home, thinking that no one loves him.
Although he does see Hatred's tank barreling in later. Mm-hmm. So who knows?
Yeah, maybe he'll be like, oh, well, he said it there.
Eventually
he'll get me. Then Malcolm and Tad have a heart-to-heart in which the Monarch calls them out on both being losers and wash-ups.
They're both so cute sitting there in the same pose. They're complaining about their lives. The Monarch finally admits that Gary left.
I know.
And mentions Dr. Mrs. getting the job, which we talked about that before.
Job offer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. My old number 2 will be my boss.
Yeah, we kind of call that might cause a little controversy in their household.
Yeah. So Rusty slings out back to the box of memories
that he calls his home, apparently. Dean, during this, is actually transcribing some of Horace Gentleman's memories, which conveniently for us are grainy and in sepia.
The Action Man, Humongoloid, and Colonel Gentleman are fighting Brainulo. We got to spend some time with him in an earlier episode called Now Museum, Now You Don't.
Yeah, when he was all elderly and in the wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if he actually has any powers to go along with his ginormous head. I think for that episode, Doc and Jack said that in the commentary that they thought it would be funny if the giant head kind of led him to being a supervillain, not the other way around.
Yeah, if you notice, he doesn't use any powers in the flashback. It's all science.
Right. I thought maybe he was using mind control, but then I noticed he had collars on, so...
Anywho, the gang just defeated judo lizards.
Because they can.
One of their tails had popped off.
Isn't that funny? Now they're being forced to fight their crushes. We've got Triple Threat and Jess. Did it say Jess? I'm sorry. Please tell me if you heard that.
He had a little J on his lapel, so it at least started with a J.
Help me here. Poor Humongoloid doesn't even get to have a crush to fight, which really isn't fair because even if, it might be physical probability, you could still have a crush on someone.
Yeah, totally true. Triple Threat is probably named based on her costume, on a nickname for someone who can sing, dance, and act. However,
Colonel Gentleman's recitation gets interrupted when Lisa, his puppy, starts barking, and he has to talk to her, and that was really fun.
He says he has to pause to have it out with Kiki. Apparently, he's been trying to play Colonel Gentleman for a fool. At least Colonel Gentleman seems to think so.
Yeah. It's unclear.
Yeah.
But they end up having a huge fight, and he ends up throwing Kiki out, or Kiki ends up leaving, depending on who you ask. Which is sad because Kiki saved his life once upon a time.
Afterwards, he starts a to-don't list. Some of the items are not to move to a country where your sexual preference is a capital offense. And not to overstay your welcome. He also talks about dating someone a third of his age, and Dean's like, I promise I won't date an 8-year-old. That would be weird.
I think it's a word. I think it's a 6-year-old.
No, a 6-year-old. 6, 12, 18. Yep. He's sad that all of his friends are gone, and he's staying there for some reason. And I think he's ready for a change.
Right. He'll have you believe that he hobnobbed with all these experimental American writers, including Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, William S. Burroughs, and Truman Capote, as well as Malcolm Forbes, who is the publisher of Forbes magazine, and Yves Saint Laurent, the famous French fashion designer. And in real life, all of these men actually did have a jaunt in Tangier. They were all either confirmed homosexual or practiced an alternative sexuality. And they are all now deceased.
Back in Boca, Hank agrees to help the Action Man to get some action with Rose. Mostly so he can go home.
Yeah.
He's not super into it. But he's so jazzed by this plan that he enthusiastically does a Go Team venture.
His first of the season.
Yeah, first time it's happened. With Hank.
They all have dinner together, and Rose turns him down because he is a womanizer and a junkie. And he defends himself, saying that Jonas had him on jump juice during his super soldier days. Also, awesome, Jonas. Great job. And that he was faithful to Jeannie until she died.
Fun fact, the Action Man married Jeannie, who was Major Tom's wife after Major Tom died in the plane crash.
It was like he honorably married her.
Right. Hank realizes that Rose is Billy's mom, who she hasn't spoken to in years.
Yeah.
She thinks that's because he thinks that she'll disapprove of his relationship with White, which we think is really cute and funny.
Right. And because it's... they have both denied being gay. And so it just means that Billy is a totally bad son.
Yeah.
Because he says that he hasn't seen her, or she says she hasn't seen him in years. Which means that, I mean, would you expect Billy to be a terrible son?
He's a little, like, absorbed in the Venture World, so much so that I think he, like, jettisoned everything that wasn't Venture World related. Yes. I love the reference to the little water baby.
Yeah, that's a callback to, like, one of the first things that Billy ever says.
Hank convinces her to have a reunion with Billy. Man, this kid will say anything to get home.
He's like, I have a great idea! Like,
I'll take you there. He's my neighbor.
And it works.
It works.
In the cocoon, Hatred and Gary split up, and Kevin, thank you for telling me which one is which, finds him and says that Gary finally flipped. He says Gary's been playing him the whole time, and because Hatred is hatred, he believes it immediately.
Then they strip Hatred of his hench clothes and dump him through the garbage chute. Which, by the way, that's not very environmentally friendly, Monarch crew.
I hope that's not how they, like, get rid of their garbage on the day-to-day, right?
Boop! Right out the bottom.
Gary is similarly confronted by Tim Tom when he barges into the throne room, but he ignores the whole bit. Like, I mean, you're lying. You're full of lies! Yeah.
He says he's going to tattle on them for being bossy britches and calls himself the Monarch's best henchman. Internal yay.
Then he calls Tim Tom a lying murderer and blames them for 24's death. Do we think that adds up?
It's possible.
I mean, I know that they had made comments, about killing them several times when they were alive, and I think, they did stab 24 at one point.
Didn't they have something to do with them getting in the car too?
I don't think so. I think they were just, like, frolicking on their own or something, and it's not that they wouldn't do it. I just don't know if that was their moment, And, like, why would they care so much?
Although I don't know why he would have figured that out and then not ever said anything about it.
It almost seemed like he was realizing at this moment or something. But Tim Tom seemed so, like freaked out by the accusation that it made me think that maybe he was just bluffing. I don't know.
Hench has killed Hench.
Hench has killed Hench.
Hench has killed Hench.
Hench has killed Hench.
Did anyone else join in? We totally did. Also, is this the end of Tim Tom or both of the Muppets?
I don't know if it's both, but Tim Tom was being crowded in on by a group of 24 clones, so not really close. In this world, must clarify.
Yeah.
We find the Monarch looking at this mysterious photo of him and Rusty, the same photo we saw a few episodes back, which we've gotten no more information about.
No.
And it's them as kids playing together, which is the only thing that makes us hesitate in believing the Monarch's whole, like, I broke his spirit speech that he gives to Dr. Wife.
Yeah, I was so on the fence about whether he was really just commiserating and he felt guilty about it and, like, a little embarrassed that he didn't do anything, so he made it up, or if that really was his plan, because if it was his plan, he executed it pretty well.
He was equally convincing in both scenes.
Yeah.
So even we don't know. I hope that it's that he has a plan. I don't want him to be bummed out.
Yeah.
It could be a little bit of both.
It felt like his spirit was a little broken, too, so... Also, as Hatred flies overhead in the tank, he accidentally has the loudspeaker on, and you can hear him grumbling, Gary, Judas, trait me, will ya? Well, a reckoning is coming.
Gary, like, interrupts the Monarch celebrations, let's just say that, and he's like, I'm home. So it looks like he finally made a decision. Yay, like, he's fully committed for right now. Fully committed.
For now. And then... Hatred shoots a freaking missile at the Cocoon on accident, and it crashes into their beautiful Frank Lloyd Wright house and takes out the entire top of the house. Gary, I still hate you, but you've got to evacuate.
Yeah, that line was so funny.
Was so
he was
cute.
like, and then I like it when he's like, I'm just gonna go.
Just gonna go.
Bye. And like, so great. It means the Cocoon has been destroyed twice now.
Yeah, they rebuilt it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does this mean that the Muppets are actually dead?
Oh, because they were in the Cocoon.
They were in the Cocoon when it blew up and caught on fire.
But everyone who is important is okay. Thank God. Like, we see the Monarch and Dr. Wife in 21 immediately, so we're like, phew, at least it's not going to be a cliffhanger. Goodness gracious. At the very end of that, the Monarch is like, who the bleep is Gary? Which is great, and I'm 100% sure that we've heard that
He's
before.
asked that before,
Yeah,
definitely. Who's Gary?
Who's Gary?
After the credits, which, by the way, ends with the Venture Brothers will return.
Squee!
The Monarch crew are moving into the house he was raised in.
Uh-oh.
Malcolm looks dubious.
We smell more backstory being uncovered in the next season.
Definitely.
Since he's going to be poking around in his old house.
Gary notes, yeah, it looks like the kind of place that has creepy wet Asian kids crawling on the ceiling, which is a total Grudge reference.
Back at the Venture compound, they're having an actually legitimate funeral for Inchman. Rose is doting on White, who Billy is asking to just play along like he's gay.
I thought that you told her I was handsome part was really sweet.
I thought that was such a cute delivery. Because if you said that in any other tone of voice, like, you told her I was handsome, like, it would be completely different. But he seems like...
He was excited. Yeah, and,
know.
like, a little happy about it.
It was cute.
And also his funeral outfit was fetching.
I thought he's super cute. I don't know.
For a possibly gay albino.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Also, the Action Man and Rose are going to move in with Colonel Gentleman.
And I guess they're going to be back in the States.
Mm-hmm. That's sweet.
Mm-hmm. And then, the moment we've all been waiting for. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we wanted to hear more about the Monarch. But second moment we've all been waiting for, Dean shares the earth-shattering clone news with Hank.
Mm-hmm.
Who, not too surprisingly, takes it in stride that he is apparently a Magic Highlander cyborg clone of some sort.
It seems to make Dean feel better, though.
Yeah.
They talk and they walk with, like, arm over shoulders.
And it's, like, from the back is when how they're filming. It's
it's a really cute moment.
Really cute.
They go over to desecrate Edmund's grave.
Together.
With Pooh. Despite that, it's still adorable.
Yeah, somehow.
A little bit of music geek trivia. Hank's new bass guitar is a Music Man Stingray 4-string electric bass guitar with a vintage Sunburst rosewood fretboard, and it goes for $1,557. The Action Man really gave Hank the hookup.
This is because this was one of the items that Hank required for helping the Action Man get in friendly with Rose. So all in all, guys, it is great to be a Venture.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
I did want to mention that I noticed a couple episodes ago, I forgot to mention this, that the running silhouettes of the boys in the credits are different. They're actually grown up, and Dean has his hair, and they're taller, and they actually have slightly different builds. They're not like identical.
The little skinny stick guys that they once were.
Yeah, exactly.
Kimson, I Gentleman Albert was this week's credits.
For Kimson. Which is, the name of Gentleman's autobiography, obviously. And
the titmouse bird was Colonel Gentleman.
A very full-throated chirp. Was that good? Do you want to try?
So good. No.
Shirt Club this week is the Calamity Conference t-shirt worn by a costume contest winner.
Yeah, Jackson put out on his Twitter a few weeks ago that they needed a model for the final shirt. So they had a little costume contest, and he was the winner. He was dressed like 2-10-21.
If only your leader would think of you as more than just a human shield. You're a person, not a number. Okay, wait, you're actually a number, but you get what I'm saying. Enjoy some hinching pride with this fine cotton tee.
If you want to connect with us, we have a Facebook page that you can like. We have a blog, veryventurevodcast.blogspot.com. We're on the Twitters at veryventuregirls, GRLS, And we also have an email address, veryventurevodcast@gmail.com. We wanted to say a very special thank you to our fans for all of the comments and emails, the feedback. It's all been really great this season.
Right, we haven't had a chance to say thank you yet, but every time we get a comment, honestly, it's like this big, it's this happy moment. Yeah, and we're like, yay! And did you see this comment? And, we do read them all and, take note of them and stuff. So we just wanted to say thank you so much for being a part of this season. So.
Making us feel like somebody out there is watching.
Someone cares.
We'll see you soon. And if you're going to Dragon Con, we will see you there.
Yeah, come say hi to us. We'll be at the Dragon Con party on Friday night.
8:30.
8:30.
International Ballroom South.
Not that we've already started memorizing.
Check the Daily Dragon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know.
This is getting too deep.
Is this proving my point or not?
I don't think so. Flatbread or kibbutz?
Or non...
Coops. 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 Coops.
Coops?
Coops. Coops.
Coops?
This is going into fucking... And I'm so mad.
We see the monarchies. Wow, I just read that. Like
Monarchy's
Anchorman
neighbor.
style. Okay.